Good morning, everyone. Welcome to American Scousers Morning Coffee or Tea with American Scouser on a Monday morning. He's here by contract, but now he's really here. Is Grumpy in the house? It's a great weekend to be grumpy, unfortunately. But the Polish prince is back from his trip around the world in 80 days or whatever the hell you did. How's it going?
Good. It felt like I was gone for 80 days, honestly.
What was it
It's
like? 10 days at the end?
10 days, 10
10
days.
days.
And yeah, it's towards the end, you kind of get that feeling where you love being somewhere, you love having less responsibilities, but at the end of the day, there's really nothing like your own bed. And at the first night back, sleeping in our bed again, it was quite heavenly. So I'm glad to be back. I'm just not glad to go back to work tomorrow.
Kevin is not coming. Kevin was literally waiting for us to go on air, man. Tony, yeah, I mean, yeah, good. We'll try. I don't know. Especially honestly, like I did not see any of the action yesterday after unless afterwards I watched all the highlights and stuff like that. But when I was refing, I'm occasionally checking the scores, and when I looked and Newcastle was up 1-0, I was like, hey, maybe this will be a weekend where even though we lose points, we don't lose ground kind of thing. And then when I come back and see that, I mean, in all honesty, I mean, not a great game for you to come back into by any means, but it could have been. It's really stupid the way we lost it at the end, like after kind of like securing a point and saving a point kind of a deal. But really, like you just look at that first half and it should have been like way gone. I'd be afraid in a Champions League game against a team like Real or something like that. Like you give those chances and they're probably burying them and like you're like 3-4 behind. I mean, Ali was just freaking amazing. But it is a little shocking how poor we were the first half.
Yeah, I think it was one of the worst first halves that we've seen for years, honestly, I think. And I don't know if part of it was me being on pain medication and hallucinating, but I was like, am I back in like 2011? Like, what is going on right now? This is ridiculous. It wasn't a fun watch. It's not fun to see how difficult it's been to find a place for Wirtz. Because I think the most frustrating thing out of all of this, and yes, really quick, I do think that we should give credit to Crystal Palace as well. I think a lot of our fans are like, I can't believe we're so bad, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, maybe it's because the other team played well too. The other team is allowed to plan well. The other team is allowed to execute well. And sometimes that comes at the expense of us playing well. And that's just what happened. I think yesterday was a combination of Palace executing well and us just really being really poor. But I think the most frustrating thing was all summer from the very beginning when Wirtz was announced and signed, he was sold on this project by Arne Slot that he is going to play a certain role in this team. He is going to have this certain position, and that is what sold Wirtz to come to Liverpool above Bayern Munich, for example. There's this clear vision. We are 6, 7, 8 games in altogether, and it still doesn't look like we see what that clear vision is, unfortunately. And I think that's been the most frustrating thing so far is that we just can't understand what it is and where he's trying to fit in. And right now it feels like we're trying to force it and play him back into form. The problem is when you have 6, 7 guys out of form, you can't try and play all of them back into form together because it doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's tactical masterclass. I think the fact, here's what happens, and this is why I think it went under the radar when we dominated like Atletico in possession and when we did against like Burnley and stuff like that, is your center back play is key. And I think Mateta had Konate's number. Konate was like horrified of like Mateta's pace and, like size, and lost a lot of those balls that you should win, put it back in the circulation. And obviously Palace takes advantage of the fact that they're kind of like an established team and they defended well. But compared to like what I said about Burnley, you can clearly see they also have a plan on like how to counter and stuff like that. And that's fine. Like when you're defending to counter and that's your tactics, that's totally fine. It wasn't like Burnley where they were just like, okay, let's boot it away and see what happens kind of a thing. But partially that's due to when your center backs can't cut the pass, long pass out, this is what happens. And they have, I mean, that's what they're built on, and they execute it well week in and week out. I mean, they're like what, third or fourth or something in the standings right now. So yeah, I mean, let's go back to the Wirtz thing, because I almost think, because that's a good point. I didn't even think about it in that aspect where he was talked to. I mean, this can't be the vision, but I wonder if the vision is more down the road vision. Like, hey, we're going to evolve this team. Like, for example, Mo isn't going to be here forever. Down the road, this is what we want to do. 4-3-1-2, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I wondered if that's what he was sold on, as opposed to, hey, you're going to come in, I'm going to put Szoboszlai at right back, because I'm sure that wasn't the plan either. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to, you're going to be the third midfielder ahead of him and stuff, because it does feel like we're almost forcing it in right now. And it's like, you can't deny the talents that is there, but it almost like, is it coming at a cost when we're trying to like force it in?
Yeah, it is. I think that we can see that right now. I think what'll be interesting is because we haven't seen Wirtz without Mo on the pitch as well. I think it's going to take a match where Wirtz, where the starting 11 includes Wirtz but doesn't include Mo. The hard thing is knowing when will that happen, because Mo seems undroppable, even though if he's on poor form, there's a case where he should be rotated, but because he's Mo, he's not going to be rotated. I think that's the difficult thing too, is you're trying to play that delicate ego game potentially with Mo, is just where can we see this fit without him in there, while being able to also play without him, without upsetting him that he's not playing. So I think that's the difficult part, that we won't really get a true idea of what that is until Mo is gone, maybe, or maybe during AFCON is really when we start to get that actual vision. It just would be frustrating. I think, to your point about selling him on the future, is, you're going to have this one really rough year where everyone's going to be doubting you and everyone's going to be criticizing you. Like, that seems like a hard sell. Because I think if he was confident, he buries that chance. He goes either left or right corner. I think I said it in the Discord. If this was last year at Leverkusen and he gets that ball over the top, he's finishing that bottom left or bottom right corner. Yeah. He's not going straight at the keeper. And I think because he's not confident right now, that went straight at the keeper, and that's where we're at. So yeah, we can see that, like you said, we can see the talent is there. We can see there is a player there. It's just trying to unlock it while not doing it at the expense of other players as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I almost get the feeling, hey, you're a basketball guy. I was making an analogy with a non-basketball person the other day, but like, you just got to see a couple go in, and then that's all you need to get that like confidence back. I mean, if that ball goes in, maybe you start seeing it much different viewers. I mean, my thing is, I'm kind of frustrated on his behalf, because we're like doing all these sideways passing, like the ball is circling in like a half circle. We keep passing it around, and he's the only one that's trying to kind of do something in between. The problem with him is, it reminds me of some of like the Coutinho days, where sometimes he takes that risk in a very bad spot where it causes a counterattack immediately. And Crystal Palace was not the team to do that against. I mean, and there was a lot of, obviously there's always like a lot of like second guessing going on once things don't go well in the first half. I mean, did you have a problem with the lineup when it came out?
Problem, no, but questioning, yes. Because I don't think we didn't bring Wirtz in to play off the left. I don't think that was ever the vision that was sold either. So to me, it seemed very weird that you're going to play against a team that packs the inside of packs the midfield, packs the inside of the field, and likes to counter on the outside. And you're going to set up with a bunch of guys who like to be on the inside. It felt like a lot of the times McAllister and Wirtz were almost, and Sobo to an extent, almost like getting in each other's way of playing in the same positions, even though Wirtz was supposed to be wide out left. So then when you add a midfielder from the left into the midfield, and now you're adding a Palace defender or midfielder also in the midfield, it just clogs up all that space. And there was nothing to do there because there wasn't any space, because everything kept coming back towards that. And that was, I think, the most frustrating thing, was knowing that that's because we didn't have a true left winger in the game to sort of expand that width. Even though Wirtz maybe was supposed to, he's not naturally going to do that, because, like you're saying, he likes to come in, find the pockets, and then distribute from there. The problem is that his teammates aren't finding him in those pockets, or they are not taking the chances or the risks to give him the ball there, whereas he will take that risk to make that pass, for better or for worse.
And that's why I feel like, you know, Wirtz is only going to be effective if you're able to kind of like stretch that defense a bit more, especially, you know what I mean, like with width, and we're not. And especially if you're playing him on the left, which I don't even know if it was on the left. It was more like that, you know, like the box midfield thing. And we've done it before, and it's worked in the past. I think it was like the City away game, and you basically replaced Jones with Wirtz in that setup. But it just was not. It just was not working basically against Palace, for one, because I think Palace did a lot well against it. And I go back to us not being able to cut the counters and stuff like that. But we were like all over the place. There's like 10, 15 minutes spot over there where we were like all over the place. Dara says, talking with, I mean, honestly, it wasn't even him. I mean, I think there's like a ball towards the end, like Sobostai tries to cross it. I feel like towards the end of the first half, and I was like, what are we doing? We can't even cross the ball in. Like everything is going long and stuff. And I didn't even understand the back post crosses when it's not like there's somebody tall in the back post. It would be one thing if maybe Gakpo was there or something like that, but Gakpo is not there. When they did it from the left-hand side with Soboslai, it's Mo on the back post. So it's like it's almost like we were out of ideas. But I agree with Dara. Like at one point you got to say, okay, maybe we got to put it in the box.
Yeah.
But then you gotta have like some like decent delivery into the box, and I don't think we did at any given point. And I think that Mo is probably the only person who kind of probably does that the best, like puts the ball puts it in the dangerous spot. At least it's difficult to clear, because here's the thing: when it's that crowded in there, it's also difficult to clear as well. But yeah, we just did not take advantage at all. When we had the possession, we did not really do much with it, and that's probably like the disappointing part. I mean, I think like Tony was saying earlier in the comments, I don't even know if it would make a difference with Ekitike was there instead of Isak, because I mean, Isak could barely get touches on the ball. I don't know if Ekitike would drop back a lot more, because he almost like gets frustrated and he'll come back, and that's part of his thing. Maybe people could run behind him, and that's another thing, man. You're not going to be able to. I feel like Ekitike and Isak play very differently, so it's gonna be an adjustment in that sense. Like I say, it would have all been great if Newcastle could take care of some kind of business yesterday, and these hiccups would kind of go. This makes the Chelsea game almost like a must-win game now, it feels like, just because going into the international break, you don't want to be behind, and you can see Arsenal is going to be all the way back. Adam says, never seen the game, got a dog instead.
Congrats.
Were you afraid? No, I mean, what did you get? What kind of dog? Isak had 3 big chances. Yeah.
I don't know if I'd call it 3. 1 for sure.
One for sure.
I think, I don't know if it was you or someone in the Discord basically said, if he falls over when he gets clipped before that shot, yeah, it's a penalty, right? And I think that's the most frustrating thing, is that we keep rewarding bad behavior on the pitch, because the league is too cowardly to retroactively go back and either fine or suspend players for simulation when they should do that. And now you are not rewarding players for being honest, and you get situations like that. I guess, I mean, technically you could maybe play an advantage there. But even then, it's just like, same, I think, with Frimpong towards the end as well. If he goes down on that challenge, there's a good chance that's a penalty as well. But because he stays up, it's not rewarded. I think that's the difficult thing.
And that's why, you know, when you feel contact, you just gotta freaking go. Header was sitter. I don't consider that a sitter. That's pretty harsh, Bob.
If we want to talk about headers being sitters, you talk about Kanate and not Isak. It's like
Yes, that
three
was
straight
right.
weeks. 3 straight
Yeah.
weeks he's had one, and just ugh.
I mean, that's the funny thing. Despite all those, we had chances. But I think the problem is, and I think it's in this system, we have to kind of get used to it. But in the past, where you created a bazillion chances based on the play, the style you played over the last 5, 6 years or whatever, you're gonna get more and more and more chances. And maybe that's what's um, helps in that sense, where there's less pressure on your finishing because you're gonna get another chance in like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever. But I feel like now we gotta be a lot more clinical, and we were not. I mean, you got to be able to take some of those chances, especially in a tough away game like that. And even then, I think it's freaking amazing that we almost got out of there, like with a point. And I would have considered that a win, really, especially after the way the first half went. But yeah, I did notice that he did criticize. I'm assuming that's going at Frimpong trying to take off on a counter instead of like defending, kind of a thing on the back post. I'm assuming that goes more at him, but then Kirkes can't clear if Kirkes clears the ball with his right, instead of like turning to the other side with his left, just boots it away with his right, that game is probably over. He's probably blowing the whistle.
I,
But yeah,
I
it's
think I think Kirkes might have been worried that if he tried to boot it with his right, it would have ended up in our own net for some reason. He just, I don't know what it is. He just doesn't trust his right foot, and
yeah.
it's
I mean, I feel it's because I don't trust. I never trust him. I use it to stand on. I mean, same thing with Robertson. It's pretty much like uses the right to stand on, but in a situation like that, you got to put your entire, body behind it and just clear it out. I mean, just clear it out. Or if you're going to take it to the left, then you got to do it a lot better than just like kicking it to a throw in. I don't even know if he thought once I clear this, game is over as well. But I mean, it's cost, and it's freaking like like the corner, for example, in the first half, right? Whenever something like that happens, where like it's a cheap corner you give away, or it's not even a corner and stuff like that, it always comes to bite you in the ass. So the moment it was a throw in, I was already worried that something was going to happen out of that. I did miss the corner kick. I did not see it actually not being a corner initially, but then I like I say, when the game goes like that, a lot of people are like complaining about like refereeing and stuff like that. And at the time I was like, man, why did we play that extra minutes? But then I think Kazi brought up the point that they did make a sub at the end and stuff. Like I say, you cleared, I think he's done. But it's hard to complain about refereeing when you play like that, especially in the first half.
that's the last thing we should complain about. And especially being fans of this club, we've had moments where we've had an extra couple seconds after the allotted time that something has gone in, and we didn't complain then. It's always going to be a situation of, if it benefits us, that's great. If it doesn't benefit us, then the whole system needs to burn down. And so, but it doesn't always work that way, unfortunately. And this time it came back to bite us. Another time in this season that we're going to be playing, there's going to be a moment where we're going to get some sort of benefit of a call that shouldn't have been made, and we're not going to say anything about it. We're like, oh yeah, it's just part of the game. Oh, yeah. Especially that corner. As a referee, whether you're in the center of the field, whether you're on the side, to make that call is so difficult. And we can sit there and watch the slow motion replay of it ricocheting and then coming back off the other player and going out of bounds and say, oh, it's easily not a corner. But you move on, you play on. That exact call happens once or twice every game. You can't get them perfect all the time, but you go on. And the fact that we weren't down 4-0 at halftime, I mean, that was lucky enough. So didn't deserve any points from that. Almost stole a point, and we move on. You're allowed to lose football matches. We've lost one match. I mean, we've only lost a few matches in what feels like an entire year, but every time it happens, the whole world needs to burn down because you can't lose football matches anymore, apparently.
Yeah, we've come to that age, unfortunately. It is obnoxious. I mean, not really. I mean, it was a corner. It would be one thing if it was a penalty or something like that the mistake was on. But it was a corner. Just defend the corner and move on. I know it's like hurts afterwards, but then I think somebody was saying, I think Dara was saying in the comments, if Gravenberg doesn't head it back towards inside, I don't know how that happens. Is this something we're practicing? Because Endo did it at the Southampton game. So
Allison should be out catching it. Yeah, they're trying to head it back to him.
So yeah, well, I don't know what we're doing over here, but the worry about that, Tony, is the moments we have VAR look at everything, we're screwed because these games will take like 8 hours and there's no like pace to them, and it would be rough. So I do not want VAR that involved in like fixing everything and stuff like that too, because you would have now if you're looking at corners and throw-ins. Because now you have to get it right. So they're going to look at it for 30 seconds, pause it, this angle, that angle. I just don't know that at all. Learn, adopt, improve, and move on. Don't lose again. I mean, that's the thing. I don't look. If you look at the schedule right now and the points, you'd be happy with it. I think you got away with a lot of these like late wins and got the 3 points, and you were in a good spot. So it hurts to kind of like drop these points, but Palace away is not brutal points to lose. I know, like I was amazed when somebody like told me told us like the records, and when I heard the record, because it feels like it's a lot tougher place to go. Maybe because we normally like eke the wins out of there and stuff like that. But I think yeah, Arsenal winning the next day at St. James Park kind of like hurts more because I felt like that win away for us was kind of like huge. But all things equal, we're up by 2 points, having beaten Arsenal. So thank God we did that part of it. And now you have Chelsea and United back to back in the league. Obviously Chelsea, and then you have the international break. But it does make Chelsea a must win, or is that like an overstatement?
I don't know if I'd go must win. It's definitely a must not lose. I think that's the big thing is you have to at least get a point against Chelsea. But I don't know if I would go must win, only because then you go into the international break and you have that clarity, possibly after whatever kind of result it is. Because if we win, we're going to go in the international break going, I don't want to go in the international break. We're coming off a win. If it's a draw, you get a nice reset. So at least there's that. But I don't think we're in the conversation of must wins quite yet, because I think this year is not going to be an 85 to 90 point title winning year. I think this is going to be like a 78 to 84 point title winning year. Really? And there's going to be 3 or 4 clubs that are going to kind of be yo-yoing around the top 2, 3. At least because I don't see, unless anyone else sees, a specific team that looks like they're running away with it, because no one does. I think the 5 through 10, 5 through 11 is stronger than it has been in recent years. So I think there's going to be good enough competition where you don't have to treat every game like a must win, like it was in the 2018 to 2022 years, right? Where you needed to get 99 points. Because that's a rough way. This Palace game in a 99 point year, that would be killer. In this, I don't think it's as bad.
Boss has strong disagree. 88 plus. That's high, man. What did we win with last year?
83, 84.
Granted, if we didn't kind of, put the brakes on, if we needed 90 last year, I think the team would have had 90. And Arsenal, Dara says Arsenal have West Ham next, so that's going to be interesting and probably easy for them. I mean, basically, we were not going to win the league in week 6. The what we were talking about on Friday, I think it was with Kazi, is if you beat Palace away, you would have really hurt our cause in terms of like what the ideal scenario was. You take the 3 points away, and you are now in a situation where you put so much pressure on Arsenal to win that game, or almost consider themselves out of the title race this early, kind of a deal. Whereas it became the complete opposite. By losing, you kind of like opened the door and told Arsenal to freaking like, yep, win this, right back in it's right on our tails, kind of a deal. And like I said, you're not going to win the league in week 6, but it was going to be, you could have had at the minimum 5, possibly like 7 to 8 point lead. And Arsenal, as fragile as they are with like Arteta and stuff like that, that could have kind of caused some like discomfort if you will. And I think that was my hope. And we're talking about that with Kazi. That's what we were hoping for, and unfortunately, made the opposite. 89 City. Yeah, I don't know. Like that's the only thing, right? In terms of pushing, because last year there was no push. So, like in those years you're talking about, Matush, like City and Liverpool, they were kind of pushing each other to get to like the 90 points, 100 points, kind of an ordeal. Whereas last year, like I say, if they were on our tail, I think Liverpool win more games. It's almost like once it's job done, you're like, me. Like after the Spurs game, it was kind of like, and especially once you celebrate the winning, it's
Yeah.
kind of like hard to keep going.
Same with the 1920 year. We could have broken every Premier League record we wanted to, but then coming back from the long extended COVID break, you don't need to do anything anymore because you've already won the league by January pretty much.
Yeah.
So you didn't have to do anything. And while I understand pushing each other higher, and yes, I do agree, the quality of teams have to also be accounted for. And we are in a our team specifically, we are in a weird year where we're coming off winning the league, but we have so many new parts that it was always going to be some sort of a restructuring, rebuilding kind of year to get all those parts working together. You have City, who is not clicking together. They have new pieces as well. Pep's trying to bed those pieces in. They're not looking very convincing. Arsenal, we know what to expect from them. They have right pieces. They have good pieces they brought in. But at the same time, they also aren't as clinical. And so the only reason I think it's not going to be as high point scoring of a year is because the teams just aren't good enough. And the teams that are typically worse are better. And they're going to also play against these top teams better than they have in the past. And I know it's early, but Sunderland is in the top 5. I mean, they've been playing surprisingly well. Palace is 3rd. Palace might be one of those sneaky good teams that get into a top 6 finish at the end of the year, right? I mean, it's just we like to think that we're this big bad team on the block and not give any credit to any other teams in the league. Other teams are good. They're allowed to be good. And that's why I think that we're not going to push 90, because all of the teams, aside from Wolves and West Ham and maybe Villa to a weird extent, I'm kidding about Villa, but at least Wolves and West Ham, they're absolute trash. Other than that, I feel like you don't have an easy game in this league.
Yeah, we do not. I mean, you look at the standings here. I mean, early on, because I think I don't know if it was like Dara or Bob. Somebody was saying in the comments that like Arsenal have played like more top teams than we have. I think the issue is when you're this early in the season, you don't know who's a top team and who's not. Yeah, I mean, Palace could end up being last year's Forest, right? In terms of making a run like that. Bournemouth, I keep going back to this. When we played in the first week, on paper, that looked like an easier game, especially with their back line changing and stuff like that. I mean, they're still 6th. So I mean, we know United doesn't make this cut over here, but it's still going to be a tough place to go to and play and all that kind of stuff. I think the first game is at Anfield when we come back from the international break. But I mean, City is 7th, Chelsea is over there. Can we too early to count Chelsea out and City out? We were talking about this on Friday a little bit. Do you see them like making those runs? I just feel like, sadly, in terms of being complete in squad wise, and I know they have struggles like like getting the first goal and stuff, but Arsenal seems like the only legit threat to me that can go like the distance, because they have the depth, they have the squad, they have the consistency. I worry about us in the sense that we're not as consistent.
Yeah, and having to rely on late minute winners is only going to take you so far before you lose to a late minute winner, which is what we just went through. So you have to definitely look at it from that side. I will include City in the race. I don't think you can count them out. Arsenal, City, Chelsea, because Palmer is out, for quite a bit of time. I think this will be a really rocky period for them. If they can get through this Palmer-less period positive, I think in my head, at least before the year, I considered them in the title race. I think I had them finishing top 4 in our predictions. I can't remember, but if they get through this Palmer-less period, okay, I can consider them as competition for the title. But this is going to be a huge few weeks for them. Month and a half, however long out Palmer's for. So I think currently City, Arsenal, and us. And I don't know. Maybe this is weird. Maybe I shouldn't consider it all. Maybe Spurs to a certain extent, just to steal some points from the likes of City, Arsenal, and us. Because Frank has a squad that has good depth. I think they overall have good pieces. They don't have that consistency yet, but maybe next year we can start talking about Spurs a little bit more as well.
Yeah, I just don't think Spurs have that week in and week out aspect. Whereas I fear Arsenal. I don't think City does either. But I know what people are saying. I mean, Bob is a good point when you have Hollands who can like score some goals and bail you out of like some weak games and stuff like that. But I just think City is not the same City. And yeah, I do agree with Bob. I mean, if you go to Stamford Bridge and beat Chelsea, I think that puts them already kind of like away kind of a deal. And with Palmer being gone and like they just had the red card, so that dude is not going to be there. They were already missing a couple of players. So we'll see how Tuesday goes. Obviously, Galatasaray game is coming up, people. So we gotta freaking have like an Ekitike hat trick or something. I hope that was the only thing I walk away. Deluded Steve says he's still fuming. I walked away from this thinking, I just hope we take it out on Galatasaray because that would make my day in multiple ways over here. Chelsea front three, which is another like different front three every year, it feels like, after a ton of money being spent. Yeah, I never thought. Yeah, I heard about this, by the way. And we were talking about this on Discord right before we went on air with like Kenny and stuff. What do you make of that? The press conference is not in 2 or 3 hours. James Spears says it's not fitness related, but I would think it has to be fitness related if he's not like taken, unless he's allergic to kebabs or something like that. Like, why wouldn't they? You're like, no, there's no room on the plane. Sorry. Like, you're not going to come with us kind of a deal. So I assume it's fitness.
I hope it's fitness because at this point, I don't know what the hell Fede did, man. I don't know what it's personal at that point. I don't know. Because
don't start like Kenny over here. Jesus.
No, I'm kidding. So because I thought initially might have been a registration issue because he had to replace Leone in the squad and maybe the paperwork wasn't done in time. I don't get the joke.
Kokorec is okay. See that? There we go. It's Monday, baby. It's food time, which you should just talk about the food you had in Italy, but that will probably take like 8 hours. But you know what Kokorec is? Kokorec is actually the large intestine, ultimately, the poop pipe, if you will. The funny thing is, like, but yeah, it's made like it's almost like grilled or whatever, and they usually like make it like in like a sandwich. The funny thing is, I mean, it's really delicious, by the way. But the funny thing is, when we went to Istanbul with Angie, so she's not familiar with Turkish food at all, and we went to this place, and usually these places, there's like a famous one in Kadıköy in Istanbul. If everybody's been, I mean, it's a place like you have to go to kind of thing. They'll have like the fried oyster clam sandwich things, and then they'll have kokoreç at the same time, right? So they'll have, so Angie's like a huge seafood person, so she's like, I'll try that because like the Turkish one, like the fried oysters, they have like Turkish tartar sauce, which would the equivalent over here is definitely like a lot more different than like tartar sauce over here, and that really makes the sandwich. I'm not a huge person and I love those sandwiches, so she's having that and I got kokoreç. Obviously I haven't had it in years, so I'm having that, and it was actually like, you can have it spicy, you can have it regular, blah blah blah. So obviously she doesn't know what I'm eating, so I was like, you want a bite? And then she did try it and she actually liked it until I told her what it was. And then she was like, I can't believe you gave me that. And I was like, but you liked it because it was delicious. I tried to have her eat brain. I think I told the story before. Brain at a restaurant afterwards when we were in Istanbul, like sheep brain. And I was hoping it would come in some kind of a format when we ordered where you can't tell it's a brain, but yeah, it came in this oval, like a long thing with like literally two brains sitting. I was like, yeah. She's like, I'm not eating that. I'm like, damn it. It's like, couldn't you guys make it like in a, I was hoping like a salad format or something where you're like, you won't be able to tell. But yeah, cockroach is delicious.
Isn't that a testament though to as to why you don't tell people what it is and just have them eat it? Because if it tastes good,
Yes,
it tastes good. What does it matter what it is
exactly.
or where it came from? If it's good,
It's hard to
just eat
describe
it.
brain. I've noticed.
Yeah, that's fair.
like in terms of texture and appearance and stuff like that, it's really hard to disguise brain. But yeah, exactly. If you don't tell people what it is and they just try it, and more than likely they're gonna like it. Like she really liked the cockroach thing, so it was. But yeah,
Like
I mean, honest, that's why he's not.
like the Polish jelly meat that you should try.
I knew we are gonna get there too. I knew we are gonna get there. Is there a Polish cockroach equivalent? I'll tell you what, that freaking Jello thing is not the like, it's not the part of the freaking animal that's disgusting. It's just how it looks.
I mean, I think there probably is because Polish cuisine tends to try and use as much as you can. I think that's what I respect about a lot of cuisine in general is when they try and use as many pieces as possible. Like Italian, for example, when we were in Italy, there were a lot of there was a lot of tripe that was used, and sort of like the leftover bits from animals that typically you just discard or throw away. But when you use it wisely and use it well, you can make it taste really good. And so,
Wait, parts of the animal or like different animals? Hold on.
no,
Like,
different parts of an animal, not different animals together.
Okay, that's why I was like, wait. We're kind of like going to a different territory. Okay, no, tripe soup is actually it's
Tripe
a
is
huge
good.
thing back home to drink when you're drunk. I don't know if it's just a myth or it's kind of like in the culture that it takes away like the hangover and like the alcohol kind of a thing. You have that like there'll be like places basically open like 2, 3, 4 in the morning because people will come out of the bar like drinking and stuff. That's where you go afterwards to have some like tripe soup. Put some vinegar in there. It's not too bad. It's not my favorite, but when you're drunk, doesn't matter anyway. So it kind of helps. Okay, let's talk about this. I know this is gonna go all over the place. It's the typical Monday. Welcome back, man. Last Monday I flew solo and I probably talk all Liverpool. Is it just me? Okay, so I hate to be that guy. But because I'm, there are a lot of people who talk shit about like soccer/football over here, and it's like you just don't get it kind of a thing. Rugby, nothing wrong with it. I don't follow it, but I respect it as a sport and stuff. This Ryder Cup thing just drives me crazy. I think games where there is no physical contact, right, with the other player. This whole over the top, like, they're trying to make it like a rivalry. And I know it's a huge deal for people who follow it and stuff like that. And my biggest thing is, why do we have to, somebody explain me this, why do we have to shush in some sports? Why is the soccer player expected to kick a penalty kick properly with 80,000 people screaming in his face? But like we have to be totally silent. Stop everything, people. Rory is swinging, kind of a thing. Why can't they play like tennis and stuff? Why, man? Just play your fucking game. Can somebody explain to me why we have to shush in some sports?
I can't answer that. Someone else can take that question.
It just drives me crazy. And like the nerve for them to get like really pissed off and chew people out. Like, how dare you cough as I'm playing over here and stuff. I just don't. That's why I hate golf. Yada, yada, yada. That's why I hate golf.
Because you can't get loud.
What I liked about snooker was I actually I love snooker as a game, by the way. We used to have one like on the campus at the pub, and you played until you lost on the table kind of thing. Like Daniel and I would be up there for like hours at a time because I was like really good at it. And then, like you never pay for it. Otherwise, like the guy who gets the table pays for it. But I love the snooker commentary. It's kind of like golf where they're like, that's a tough shot. It's just like, what? What'd you say? I said that's a tough shot. Yeah, I don't understand some of the sports having to be quiet. I had to get it out of my way because I've been reading about it on ESPN all freaking weekend. that, you know, like, oh, they chanted this and he told the fans to shut up and stuff like that. It's just freaking play, man. It's your thing, right? Certain sports are entertaining only if you play them. I agree to this, actually.
Oh, for
You look
sure.
like a tennis guy.
I do play tennis.
Yeah, I
I don't
now that
know.
I point that out.
I don't know how I should take in that comment, but that's yeah.
No, look, doesn't Maturish look like a tennis guy? If I showed you Maturish, first of all, okay, if you saw the height, you would be like, you must be playing basketball or volleyball or something. When you meet him, when somebody meets you, it's like
If
Jasmine.
they get the opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, if they're granted an appearance at the castle. But yeah, I mean, it's like Jasmine's well, now fiance, Ryan. I mean, like when you meet that dude, you were like, what are you playing, basketball or like volleyball? Because he's like neither, mind you, but he's like a huge, neither like a ladder to like see him eye to eye. But he like when somebody meets you, I would think they would assume that you play like basketball or volleyball or whatever. But if they just saw you and didn't notice, like you were sitting at a table, they were like, you must be a tennis player. Maybe it's all the stylish, like the elegant thing of tennis over there. Australian rules football. Why is that not a thing over here?
Because we're in America, baby, not Australia.
Yeah, because literally Australian rules football is a ton of fun. I used to watch a ton of that. I can't. That's why if you watch Australian rules football, I feel like it's harder to watch rugby afterwards. Because to me, at least, you know, because I'm watching it as, you know, somebody who doesn't know like details, tactics, and stuff like that. I'm just like watching it. Australian rules football is like so much more vicious and fun and stuff. Golf, yeah, I understand what Bob is saying though. Some games is like a hard watch. Like golf, I just don't understand. But there are people like who watch it for like hours, days.
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't do it. I can barely watch. Like when let's say you go to Top Golf and just take some swings. I can barely watch the people in my group take swings, let alone sit in front of a TV and watch more people take swings. I can appreciate the amount of patience and skill, but it's not for me. It is not for me one bit.
Do I watch women's table tennis? No, man. But table tennis is one of those where you watch, you're like, how the hell? Like when you watch it, like how the hell are they doing it? But yeah, like it goes back to what Bob is saying. I think it's a fun game to watch. You can watch somebody play table tennis for like 2 minutes, and then baseball is not a hard watch, it's an impossible watch. Nobody is watching the game, therefore everybody just eating and checking out the ladies and stuff like that. I don't think anybody is watching the game. I guarantee you, is this an exaggeration, if I went around the stadium in a baseball game and I asked people what the score is, what is the percentage that would answer it correctly without looking at the scoreboard in a baseball game?
That's good. That's good. Let's go 50. Let's go 50-50.
50?
I think every other person could get it, but maybe 30 is fair. I think here's my argument on this, and I'm on your side, so I'm not arguing on the other side.
I'm on your side.
Yeah, let me get this clear. I'm not a baseball fan. Recently, big Cubs legend, player, whatever, Anthony Rizzo, retired. And so he came back to Chicago and he sat out in the outfield. And rather than sitting out there in the outfield, maybe talking to fans or maybe watching the game, what did he decide to do instead? He decided to start a beer snake where they take all the cups of beer that have been drunk and you stack them on top of each other to make a big snake in the outfield of Cubs. And that is the most exciting thing that happens at every single Cubs game, as far as my understanding goes. So if your most exciting thing to do is, especially as the player who played there, is to go out and make a snake of cups, I don't think the sport is very fun to watch.
No, and they've changed a bunch of stuff. All right, see, like it's like a calling, man. Ryan is like, somebody talking shit about baseball, I'm here. Because yeah, Ryan is a huge baseball dude. Because he does like scouting and all that kind of stuff. So More power to you, man. Because do you have to watch to scouts, or can you just look at the numbers and be like, I don't want to even see anything. Just show me the numbers. I'll do the spreadsheets, kind of a deal. It's just an
Actually,
impossible
if
watch.
I may ask Ryan this question, because I was thinking about it. I don't know why. It was a couple weeks ago. I was thinking about sports in general, and I think there are some sports where you have the benefit of looking at numbers and getting a good idea of what that player, what that team does. I think football or soccer is one of those sports where the numbers, you can't look at someone's goals and assists and necessarily understand their impact on
Yeah.
that game. Maybe on a season, but not on a game. Is baseball the easiest sport to judge someone by numbers alone? Because I think when I think about some of my friends, when they talk about sports, when they rattle off statistics for baseball, like 340 average, 800 slugging, blah, 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 it seems like the players are just numbers and they don't actually, there's not an eye test that they need to pass. Whereas in some sports, you need an eye test. That's just my thing. I feel like
I think
baseball
they
is
look
one
at
of
what
those.
they look at the eye test. I mean, Ryan can tell us all about this, but I think it's more about like mechanics and stuff like that. They're looking at like arm strength and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know. Like Ryan can tell us every sport that I like, and maybe that is why I like them. There's a lot of stuff I think where like I think soccer, basketball, heck, even volleyball. I mean, like team sports, especially because I don't consider baseball a sport, Ryan. But team sports, um, there's a lot of stuff that says like things you don't see in the stats, right? Like a run a player makes, a diagonal run or whatever to clear space or whatever it is, it doesn't show up on stats. You have to watch it. Or, in basketball, a screen the guy sets or whatever he does not show up in stats. So there's a lot of things, like when defending, it might not show up in stats necessarily but you made the guy, a tougher shots or whatever. Whereas I feel like in baseball, I don't know where that would be in terms of like, oh, you don't see it in the stats. Because I think, like you said, everything they do ultimately is on the stat sheet. Or is it because it's tracked a lot closer, or is it the sport or whatever they call it? But I just can't. To be honest, though, for people on the other side of the ocean, I would say cricket is even worse than baseball. Do I believe in XG? Don't get me started on the XG.
Where's Kazi?
Where's Kazi when you need him? Yeah. So that's what I mean. Like there are some things, even in like soccer, I feel like they have tried to add, and I know with like all the scouting and stuff like that, there's a lot more numbers that everything is looking at. Like they're looking at like ridiculous numbers behind the scenes. And XG is something that's important, but doesn't always tell the whole story. And that's why the question is, are there things that just because they're wearing like vests doesn't make it classy, Tony? I mean, or taking a tea break doesn't make it classy.
Or that it takes days to complete a game. I don't understand. I just give me 2 hours to finish this match. Don't tell me it lasts 5 days. What the fuck is going on?
It's is it a war or a battle kind of a thing? Yeah, I don't see. I mean, that's because of some of the countries that follow it, though, right? I find it unwatchable. See, that's interesting. Now, Tony hates me. I see, like Dara, for example. Can you watch cricket? Because you said you can't watch, but you can't do baseball. Because I mean, I find it. I mean, both of them I couldn't, and I tried. Like in both sports, I tried. When I was in England, I tried to see, like, okay, what is this all about? And I was like, where are they going? Tea break. But then, like, yeah, it would like takes 3 days, and you try to watch the game, and you're like, yeah, this is freaking horrible. And then you come over here, people just put on helmets. They're pretty much playing a similar game, and it's still crap. But at least they have good food to go with it.
Put on helmets, and they put out gloves to catch the ball in the outfield. At least in cricket, they don't have to put on gloves. They're using their bare hands.
Blackhawks. See, I think hockey is another one of those games. Hockey, actually, I find we were talking about it with Layla this weekend. She was home. Like it's the closest thing I find to soccer. Like like hockey, the game, like setting the triangles and the passing and stuff like that. I find it's very close. I have trophies over here, people, from the days where I won EA hockey contests over here, just because you did a lot of like, hey, you laugh, buddy, you laugh.
No,
You Google me with NHL, I'm famous.
I
Don't
know.
look
No,
down
no.
'cause
I'm laughing because I can only think about because I'm thinking about you from the FIFA days and how you probably beat up 8 and 9-year-olds in hockey as well, and that's what's making me laugh, knowing full well that's what happened.
No. These were all adults, man. These are like all adults. This is when I didn't have kids, had a lot of time. We would play every single game. Like every single game, like through the entire season, playoffs. And these are like before like the internet was really like internet, right? Like you had to like dial the other guy's number and connect and stuff like that. It wasn't like servers and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, we were pretty big time. I talked about this, I think, before. Like EA actually sent us the game for free to the league because it was like one of the biggest leagues at the time, man. I freaking crushed it. Google my name, add NHL next to it. It's going to come up my ridiculous record as Detroit Red Wings. And then I think the second one was I can't remember if it was like Rangers or Panthers. I can't remember. I think it was Rangers actually. All-time Liverpool team is, oh man, this is a tough one, Lisandro. It's gonna take a while.
We don't have enough time.
Yeah, we don't have enough time. That's a good question for a day like during the international break, though. We should probably make this all-time favorite player. Let me do that. Let me make it a bit simpler for you.
But why is this phrased the way that it is as an American fan? Why can't we just name our all-time Liverpool team as just a fan? Like,
but I'll do it as a Turkish fan. You do it as an American fan or a Polish fan.
Okay, yeah. Well, as a Polish fan, Jerzy Dudek, easily the greatest goalkeeper
That's why
ever lived.
Is it?
No, I mean he's not the greatest goalkeeper to have ever lived.
No. I know that. I meant like, is that your favorite player though? Being Polish?
No. I would say it's so hard to not say Stevie G still. It's what I grew up on, man. That was it.
Social engineering. I don't know what that. No, man. Timucin NHL. All you got to Google is, and it will be there. Ryan says Bobby. Man, that's a tough one. Because I would definitely put Bobby in the mix. Personality, play, efforts, class, everything. I will put that in there. I don't know. Maybe because it's my early days and that's why I like Sadoval. I would probably put Dalglish as my all-time, I think, because that's what kind of like sucked me in. But like recent times,
yeah, that's different, right? It's much different because I can't say Dalglish, I can't say Rush, I can't say John Barnes, because while I can go back and watch, there's nothing like watching it. There's nothing like actually being able to watch it because I am not.
Yeah, what is it? You're not
fortunate enough to be around for those years like other people. So for me, as a 10, 11, 12, 13, 14-year-old in my formative years, Stevie G was the guy. But recently,
that was such royalty. Like, it's the nicest way of insulting people ever. This comes with all this royalty training.
Factual. You're older than me. There's nothing to be offended by. You're smarter. You have more wisdom. You're better at FIFA. You just have more years.
I like he said. I mean, the Greek scouts are going. This is from Roma last week. Really?
Yes.
I mean, if you ask, so like it's almost like they want him. If it was up to John, he would make Costas win the Serie A. If they win the Serie A this year, John will go back to this week where the Greek scouts had the assist. He'd be like, "Yeah, they huge fight in that. That's why they won." Dude, yeah, hold on. Now,
even though that assist was not in Serie A, it was in Europe.
Okay, see, now I'm offended because it's not coming up. I'm almost offended now. Is the history deleted?
It never existed.
I have the trophies to show for it, so joke's on you. Yeah, man, I'm gonna have to find this over here and like share the link or something like that. Because yeah, it's almost like the site has disappeared. Because I mean, yeah, the dude, I mean Todd's, God, I can't remember his last name now. But yeah, it was like very organized site,
Fully.
updating scores and stuff like that. It was like no, he bought it out and stuff like that. The former player is my grandfather. Aisha is actually my like sister. So she studied video or something like that, TV or something like that, and that was like her like master projects about that idea. Come on to you know what? No, I have not played actually NHL in ages. I don't have enough fingers for these games these days. Have you played FC 26?
I just, because I was gone for my trip, and I had just come back this past weekend, it fully downloaded and installed last night, and I did play one game on the new kind of gameplay setting. Not it because there's two kinds of ways you can play now, settings wise. There's competitive and there's authentic. I think it was, and it's like a much slower. I actually preferred the new way because it reminded me of like the old PES days, or like the old FIFA 12, 13, 14 days when it was really good, of just like a slower, less arcade like kind of game.
So where is this again? Like, is it single or is it online?
It's, I mean, it was offline. I don't think it was online.
Okay.
Because online, you play against someone else. So I don't know if you can do that, but yeah, I don't know. It was fun. You should take a look at it because it was a much slowed down version.
I'm kind of like, it's the typical first month of the game for me where I don't even know if I like it or not. All I know is the game is favoring more and more people who just dribble and nothing else. Dribble and do moves. Like I feel like a lot of the passing, which is obviously, you played me. That's kind of like my strength. You're the moves guy. So it favors the moves guy. This younger generation who doesn't know how to pass. More and more people with like 14 mutant fingers on the controller doing like different things, as opposed to people like actually like more passing and stuff. It feels like so. I gotta work on some moves. I always say this and I never get around to it. FIFA 11 is the best. I don't even remember which one FIFA 11 was. I'll tell you what, the latest ones are all the same pretty much. Was Ultimate Team the death of FIFA?
In the sense that they abandoned the offline players, yes, because a big draw for me, at least growing up, was playing career modes. And I think that the career modes suffered the most from Ultimate Team because all of the investment went towards that. All of the money went towards that because they know that's where the money comes from. Because if you can get people, sucker them in to buy packs and to keep buying coins, use their own money, then you're going to make more money that way. No one's going to put money into career mode, unfortunately. For me, FIFA 14 was one of my favorites. I'm trying to look up what the FIFA 11 that was with.
And how are you guys remembering the differences? I honestly, because I buy it every goddamn year, I really don't remember.
So did I, but there's just like that one was with Messi on the cover, and sometimes the cover is what I remember. With
I got you. Okay.
FIFA 11 was the one with Rooney and Kaká on the cover. I don't know if you remember that one.
They actually still have like really good soundtracks. I know like now they made it where like, sometimes if you're not feeling it, like, some of the international songs, like if you're not like feeling that vibe of that area, but you can just go on to the next one and stuff. I feel like they're already, yeah, see, like we made it 30 minutes talking Liverpool. Poor Roach is still like, hey, you guys worried? We are worried. So we're trying to distract ourselves with food and FIFA talk.
See, here's how we can have a conversation with an Arsenal fan who's maybe a little bit lost in his ways, and still be able to have a decent conversation about FIFA. Because career mode is why I play FIFA a lot of the times. Because I love to take. I think I just started a career mode with Tranmere Rovers last night, and we're gonna see how long it takes to get them out of EFL League 2 and onto the glory of the Champions League.
Hold on, I'm gonna have to eventually find this over here.
Just show us the trophies.
I'm really worried. I don't. I mean, we were not on EA servers. I wished. No, you're good, Roach. You're good. Yeah, we already tried to get that out of the system. We'll talk about it probably more on tonight's podcast too. But no, we were not actually on EA servers. EA just sent us free games for our second season. I think I was in that thing for like 3 or 4 seasons. But yeah, I think so. I mean, Away Gunnar is right. I think this is going to be a lot tighter. This weekend could have been like a breaking point. Like we win, they lose points. And I mean, I'm sure Away Gunnar will agree that Arsenal fans will be more likely to lose their heads. Then again, you look at our Discord channel and you could debate that, I guess. But Polish Prince, who's the best Polish athlete of all time?
Ooh.
Lewandowski.
I mean, he's probably one of the most
He's
successful
gonna come up with
Polish
some like pole
athletes of all
vault
time.
guy from like 20 years ago.
Actually, no, a skier, a ski jumper. Adam Małysz. He won lots of medals at the Olympics. If not him, then maybe Boniek from the 80s.
Juventus.
Yes, the good old Juventus days with Zbigniew Boniek. I think Lewandowski's an easy shout because he is one of the best strikers ever.
One of the best footballer of all time. You don't think? You
Well,
put Boniek ahead of Lewandowski?
Maybe as an all-around footballer, yeah. But as it's just a
That's fair.
striker specifically, Lewandowski.
Yeah.
And then there's of course Marcin Gortat for any of you basketball fans.
And who
the
can forget?
Polish hammer.
Who can forget Matty Cash? The
Mateusz Cash. Dude, he has had some absolute rockets in the last couple of weeks.
Yes, by the way. Anytime I look at the scoreline and I see him score, I'm like, he was talking shit about this guy. He's the most Polish guy there is now, Matty Cash. Okay, so let's finish with tomorrow over here. I'm trying not to think about it because if we do not get a good result tomorrow, not only I'm gonna be pissed off. Normally, I would not care if we were going to Dinamo Zagreb tomorrow for Champions League. I wouldn't care if it was a draw or whatever, because I feel like the tougher fixture at Atletico Madrid, we won at home, whatever. You just got to make it to the top 8. It's not like last year. The fact that it's Galatasaray, we better freaking win this thing tomorrow and ideally humiliate them in the process. But do you think the team bounces back? Or the halftime was the bounce back anyway? Because we did play a lot better in the second half, to be fair.
I think the team does bounce back. I think the team needs to bounce back more than anything. A good result is necessary. I think a clean sheet would be number one priority, I think. And then number 2 would be to just get some semblance of players playing together and understanding each other. I think that's the big thing. I know earlier we were talking about Ekitike being a big miss and questioning whether or not how big of a miss that was at Palace. I think when we talk about him and Wirtz, I think that link up is much better than Isak and Wirtz right now, only because of the time that they've had together, I think.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just seeing those partnerships and being able to have a stronger game overall together is necessary, because I don't think you can go into this weekend against Chelsea off of another bad performance.
Yeah, it would be. I don't even know how much rotation there will be. I'm sure we'll talk about it more tonight and then tomorrow morning too. I'm hoping to make it tonight, but 7:00 Central, 8:00 Eastern. I might barely make it or halfway through the show, like I did. Away Gunnar is saying like 3-0. Yeah, I mean, more than the team, I mean, like being Turkish and a Fenerbahce fan, I just don't want anything resembling a decent score close to Galatasaray. So I'm hoping we just like destroy them tomorrow. I will take a 3-0 beating. And I think after their last Champions League game, the crowd will be psychotic over there as always in Istanbul. But if we start out fast and get an early goal, that is going to be an interesting way to kind of get the crowd out, and you can kind of start turning that crowd on them, I think, if you get like a 2-0 or something like that early. So I worry about this actually, like similar to what was that the United when they played them over there, it was like 3-2 or 4-3 or something like that, because they can score, they have the players. And then they had like these lucky worldies out of nowhere and stuff like that. Osimhen might play. I think he came in the last like 10-15, or at least he'll be coming off the bench over there. They didn't have a great weekend, but still, we'll see what happens over there. Early score prediction?
Let's go 2-0, good guys.
2-0 good guys. I'm going with the Turkish Timucin special over here, 3-1 away. But I think, yeah, I'm hoping even when you do rotation, you're throwing a really good team out there. I would think Gak would play from the start now. Ikitike in the middle. Mo is Mo. He's going to be there. You're going to have probably Robertson. I don't know if you see Gomez tomorrow instead of Konate. I would not mind that. And then Frimpong, we did not get to talk to him, but why is he as strong as a 10-year-old?
Because he's as tall as a 10-year-old.
I guess. I mean, yeah, it's been a rough watch, man. I mean, how like weak he is overall kind of like really worries me, and especially as a right back. I don't think they have anybody on the left that's physical, but his pace might bail us out tomorrow, so I would think he might get a start too. But we'll talk about it more in the morning as well. We'll see what comes out of the press conference about Chiesa and stuff. But have a great week, everybody, and we'll see you guys tonight, 7:00 Central, 8:00 Eastern. If you have not subscribed already, just do that. Am I taller than Frimpong? I don't know. How tall is Frimpong?
5'4".
I'll tell you what, I'm stronger than Frimpong.
He's like 5'4", 5'5".
Is he? Then I am taller than Frimpong. Yeah, baby. Bring it on. Okay. Something to celebrate rest of my day as I work over here. But have a great day, everybody. Subscribe if you have not done also already. Hit the thumbs up.
No, he's 5'8". I'm so sorry. He's 5'8".
5'8"?
I really
let me leave happy. Why did you have to spoil it for me?
He seems shorter.
Just imagine how short I will look then. Damn it. Okay. Well, you guys have a good. Thanks a lot, friends. Good to have you back, buddy. Okay. Have a great week, everybody. Take care.